this project, I had picked up this beautiful red glass from a garage sale. They were asking $7 for 15 pieces. I offered them 5 and they took it. And look at how pretty this glass is. I really was planning on just smashing it up and using it for tumbled glass, but I thought I would try to make some shaped hearts out of it also. So what I did was just broke off pieces because I wanted to use the corners so that they were not just flat hearts but kind of, I don't know, three-dimensional. So, and as you know, glass doesn't always break the way you want it to. So you can see I chopped the top of that heart off already. But I just kind of used my nipper tool and kind of went around and tried to shape it into a heart. And these I'm going to tumble, so even though it looks a little bit rough around the edges right now, after it's been tumbled, it'll really smooth out and shape up. And when I put stuff into the tumbler, I usually put it in for about a week. So you can see here that these pieces aren't flat. They kind of have a curve to them, and I thought those looked kind of neat. They aren't perfectly flat like a piece of stained glass, and they're a beautiful red color. So in addition to shaping those hearts, I also broke up all the rest of the glass there to be tumbled. And I usually do it out in the garage in this wooden box. My husband actually built it for me because I was using like plastic tubs, like kitty litter tubs. And the glass after a few times was actually puncturing through the bottom, and I was getting glass all over the floor of the garage. So this seems to work out best. Anyway, I broke it all up, scooped it all up, and put it into my 45-pound MJR tumbler and tumbled that in addition to the shaped hearts for about a week. The other way that I shaped the hearts is when they came out, there was a lot of these triangles like that. So I decided I would make those into hearts. And I took them out to the garage where I have a glass grinder. And this is a 1/4-inch bit that I put on it. And I just go ahead and press it into it. I don't know if you can see that very well. My hand's kind of in the way. But and I put a groove into it. And then after I have the start of the groove, I go ahead and swap it out for the 1/8-inch bit. Then I'm able to put a deeper groove into it, and then this is what it looks like before it goes back into the tumbler. And then I make a whole bunch of these, and I throw this back into the tumbler for probably close to another week. And I ended up with some whole bunch of these. These are the kind of three-dimensional hearts that are a little bit curved, and I ended up with some of those, not as many as I would have liked to have had, but I have a few more of those, and then also a lot of these shaped hearts that I use the glass grinder for. So I also use stained glass stems that I had previously cut up for other projects. And cutting stained glass is pretty easy. I did learn to cut stained glass on YouTube. I am not an expert stained glass cutter, but like I said, it is fairly easy, especially just to cut stems. And all you do is use your scoring tool to go ahead and make your straight lines or curved lines for your stems, and then you use your running pliers to go ahead and squeeze, and that actually breaks the glass. So I took all of these stems and I put them in my 45-pound MJR tumbler and tumbled them for several days. And really you only have to tumble them probably overnight just to get the sharp edges off of them. So some of them do end up breaking, but for the most part they stay intact. And there are tons of videos on YouTube on how to cut stained glass, and the best part about it is it's free. With all the glass ready, it was time to prepare the frame. The frame I used for this project was a 14 by 17-inch frame. I removed the clips from the back, I removed the back cardboard, I removed the glass, and then I took Elmer's glue and I put it around the perimeter of the back of the frame where the glass would sit. Then I replaced the glass, and then I took Elmer's glue one more time and put it around the perimeter of the back of the frame, this time on top of the glass or in the space between the glass and the wood. So this serves two purposes. It helps to hold the glass in place, and it helps to prevent resin leaks when you put resin on the other side. After the glue had dried overnight, we were ready for the resin. Unfortunately, I forgot to put the painter's tape along the perimeter of the back to help prevent resin leaks, but I was able to get it on with a little bit of difficulty. Then I continued to pour the rest of the resin. The resin I'm using for this project is art resin. It's a 1-to-1 ratio resin that you mix slowly in a cup for 3 minutes. I usually put it around the perimeter and up in the corners first, because even though they say it's self-leveling, you really do have to manipulate it and push it into the corners and along the sides. So I started putting on my hearts, my tumbled hearts, and the larger flower is made out of the shaped hearts, and it's probably difficult to see, but those are the curved ones, the larger pieces. And then the other flowers are made up of the smaller hearts, which were the ones that I shaped with my glass grinder. So I put a piece of jewelry in the center of each of them. I decided to use pearls for all of them, different type of pearl things. The 2 medium-sized ones are earrings. The larger one might also be an earring, maybe it's a brooch. And then in the smaller ones that I made toward the bottom, I put a single pearl in the middle. So one of the things that I look for at garage sales besides frames and glass is jewelry. And I have quite a collection of jewelry, and I like to use them in my art projects, in my glass art projects. I think they really are pretty to add. Anyway, I just slowly added everything and then went ahead and poured some resin over each of the flower petals. I like the glass to be shiny. Some people prefer their tumbled glass to be frosted like real sea glass. I like it to be shiny. It's just a personal preference. And then when I was done with that, I got I used my kitchen torch to get rid of the bubbles, and I had to do this multiple times. The more you manipulate the resin, like I was scooping some resin up with the spoon to put on top of the petals, it will create more bubbles. I really shouldn't be doing that, but that was the only resin that I think I had left. And then I used some green tumbled glass that I had tumbled before and used that to make some petals. Some leaves for each of the stems. And last, I took some green glass. I believe it's actually green. It's actually fire glass that I had spray painted green with the Krylon stained glass spray paint. And then I took some gold glass that I had picked up at Michael's and sprinkled that along the bottom and also a little bit along the top. Hey everyone. So I know it probably seems like a lot of work doing all this cutting and tumbling and all that, but I just loved that red glass was gorgeous. And I know some people are probably cringing at the fact that I broke that up, because a lot of that glass, is valuable. People use it and collect it, and it's in their cabinets, but I don't know. Anyway, so I think the easiest way to do these is just after you break it up, pull out the little ones that look like triangles, and I ended up with a ton of the ones that look like triangles, and using the glass grinder that I have in the garage. But there's another tool that has that same attachment that you can use. I don't know if they call it a Dremel tool or something. I probably have to ask my husband. I'm not real familiar with a bunch of tools, but I do like that glass grinder. That's really nice. That was easy to reshape. These other ones, and I just tossed them back into the tumbler. But you could actually shape. So if you broke up the glass with your nippers and made it, you know, kind of looking like a heart, and you had the glass grinder or that other tool, you could actually sand around the edges, because you saw how it looked after I had made it. You could actually, you know, use it like that. I just wanted it a little bit smoother. But you can actually use that tool to kind of sand around the edges, and if you don't have a tumbler and don't want to tumble glass, you can do that. And the other thing that you can do is, I guess I didn't show you, but you can also cut, you know, the stained glass hearts out. And these I actually threw in my tumbler to make them nice and smooth, but of course you don't have to do that. I don't know how well I cut those out, but you can see how smooth they are. And you could make smaller ones and do that on the glass too. Just some different ideas. And like I had said, these stems are real easy. These can go in a tumbler, but you need a considerably larger one than you would use for these small pieces because they're so long. But you could also cut them shorter and then just attach them together to make the stem. You don't necessarily need a huge tumbler, but if you want to keep them intact like I did, you really do need a large tumbler. But anyway, just different ideas I'm throwing out there. This glass at the bottom, this green glass, is actually Dollar Tree glass, and this gold that I put on here at the top and the bottom, I don't know if you can see it. I added just a little gold to add some different color to it besides the red and green. And the gold is from Michael's, and that's another one of the specialty glasses. They have glass at Michael's all the time. They have that that silver reflective glass, clear with the silver reflection on it all the time, which of course you can paint. But then they come out with this specialty glass around all the different holidays or different times of year, and you just have to keep your eyes open for it. Like I said, with the gold glass, I'm sure I got it there and it came and went probably around Christmas time. And when they reduce it, they really reduce it to 70% off. So it's a little over $2 for £1.50 pounds of glass. You know, I think that's a good deal. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I like using jewelry in my glass art too. That's another thing I was saying that I look for at garage sales. I have a lot of fun looking for the glass, looking for the jewelry. I have so much glass out in the garage now, though, unless I see something really special, I don't get it anymore. You know, this red glass was a deal. You know, I ended up getting it for $5. So, but the jewelry and the frames, you just get such good deals on them. Anyway, enough of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. If you enjoy the channel or you want to be notified of future videos, go ahead and subscribe. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.